Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I want to go ahead and jump right into this because this may be a bit of a long video. I get a lot of questions about how I knew my husband was the one. I want to go ahead and tackle that question eventually, but I think I want to do that with my husband. But the question opened my eyes to a bigger issue. The bigger issue and the bigger question should be, how do you know when someone isn't the one? The first thing I think about when I think about that dilemma that we might have in our lives is my ex-husband and how I thought he was my husband. And without a shadow of doubt, for years, I testified that this man was someone who God wanted me to be with. And it wasn't until I've learned God more, built a closer relationship with him, understood how he spoke to me, is when I realized that that individual was never meant to be my husband. Let's go ahead and talk about that. So years ago, I was dating my ex-husband, and I thought that I was completely sold out for the Lord. I had maybe a few weeks before that, I was dating someone else. I broke it off. I knew that that's not what the Lord had for me. I ended up breaking it off, and that night, my ex-husband reached out to me on Facebook, and I thought it was more than a coincidence. I thought it was God. I thought it was like, you know how you ever saw that image of the little girl holding a teddy bear, and Jesus has a bigger teddy bear behind his back, and she will not let go of this rinky-dink teddy bear. And so I thought that that was my teddy bear experience. I thought I was getting rid of this thing that was rinky-dink, and the Lord was going to bless me, and this was the blessing through this message from this random man. We ended up dating, and with all good intentions, I thought that I was being led by God. I really, really thought I was being led by God. I thought that this man was brought into my life by God. I thought the red flags were not red flags. I thought the red flags were just yellow flags, maybe. Maybe opportunities for me to pray, opportunities for me not to judge. Every excuse in the book I used to validate this relationship. And so we dated for months, and we ended up being sexually involved. All judgment went out the window. Here we are one day, we're in a few months into our relationship, and I'm sitting on the couch, I'm reading my Bible, and I'm having my alone time with God. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, God, I am dating this guy for a few months now. It seems like it's getting serious. I need you to tell me if this is my husband. And I was afraid to ask him because I was afraid to get the answer. I was enjoying where I was, and I didn't really want God to interrupt the season. And so I said it verbally out of my mouth. I said, God, is this my husband? And before I can get husband out, I heard yes. Audibly, I heard yes. And I remember I jumped. Like, it startled me, and I started crying. And I remember I wrote in my journal the date and what I just asked God and what his answer was. Fast forward months down the line, we do end up getting engaged, we get married, and all hell broke loose. Well, to be honest, hell broke loose before we got married. He was verbally abusive, emotionally abusive, withholding. And because I was still stuck in my own issues, it was just a tumultuous relationship. Years later down the line, I realized that that man was never meant to be my husband. We were never meant to be married. My brokenness, his brokenness collided, and there was codependency there, and there was demonic influence that led us together. And all with the hopes that we would destroy one another. And so when I found out that this man was not my husband, the Lord gave me a dream, told me to leave the relationship, and I left the relationship. I signed the divorce papers that he filed. I signed the divorce papers, and our marriage was over. Fast forward a little bit more, I ended up meeting my husband. Well, I already knew my husband, but we began to date, and we ended up getting engaged, we get married. And all throughout all of this, I remember still talking to my girlfriend, and I said, if this man was not my husband, why would God tell me yes? I know what I heard. I did not make that up. I heard a voice say yes. And so there was so much confusion still there, and I would go to God and ask him, and I don't know, I can't explain it, but it was like he wasn't saying much to answer the question, but he would always remind me of what he did say. And what he did say was that this man was not my husband. So fast forward a little bit more, I'm married to my current husband now, and we were talking about my previous marriage and just things that I've dealt with in it. And I told him, I said, I don't understand what I heard that day, why I heard yes. And so my husband said something that really changed my perspective in my life. He said, babe, how does God usually speak to you? And I said, well, typically it's a knowing. It's a ministering to my spirit. Never heard God speak to me audibly before. He said, why do you think God would speak to you differently when it comes to who you should marry and who your husband is? So I realized at that time that the voice that I heard that day was not my God, was not my Father, because my God doesn't speak to me that way. And so it was the enemy. It was Satan pretending to be the voice of the Lord. There's a scripture that says, I know the voice of my Father, and the enemy I shall not follow. And at the time, I didn't really know the voice of my Father. I had experiences hearing the voice of God, meaning those ministerings that I was talking about, but I really did not know. And so Satan was able to infiltrate my time with God, to pretend to be my God, and he was. The question should be, how do I know when he's not the one? And how do I know the voice of my Father? And that is the key. The key is to knowing the voice of your Father. The key is to building such a strong relationship with your Creator that the enemy cannot bamboozle you. And once you know how God speaks to you through conversation with him on a regular basis, you'll be able to ask him questions and go to him about who your husband should be, and know with confidence that his answer is his answer, and it's not the enemy, and it's not you, it's not emotion. And so ladies out there, you go to God, you build your relationship with him. That should be number one priority, building your relationship with God, and everything else will line up. Everything else will line up, and you will be able to confidently make moves in your life. You'll be able to confidently pursue different things, whether it be relationships or jobs or moves or relocations or anything like that. You'll be able to confidently pursue those things, knowing that God is guiding you and that his peace is lighting your path. Thanks again for coming and tuning in to another video. I really appreciate the support. I cannot believe that I am at 480 something subscribers. That's super cool. I know it's God. I know it's God. Growth to me, the subscribers and the videos that are watched and the comments, to me, that's just God saying, I told you. I told you. And so I'm just so blessed that I'm able to use something that was really hurtful and something that was really tumultuous, and use it for the deliverance of others and to save others from going through some of the things that I've gone through. It makes my heart glad. So thanks guys. I will see you guys in the next video. In the next video, my husband's going to be with me, so please go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. Comment any questions you may have. I love getting your questions. It really helps me figure out what videos to do next. And like I said, my husband's going to be in the next video. We're going to be talking about how to know when he or she is the one. And it's a super cool video for us because our relationship is just so ordained, and it was just the way we got together was just really incredible. So it's a really good subject for us, and we get really excited about that question. So we're going to try to make it a short one, not too long, but informative. So thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace out. Bye.